Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive? Today, we're taking a look at Laughimation Studio.
Oh, that's a fun one.
Yeah, it is. They're doing some really creative things with animation and humor to make all kinds of topics engaging and fun.
Yeah, I mean, who
So,
doesn't love to learn something new but also have a good laugh while they're doing it? It's like the best of both worlds.
exactly. So, for all of our listeners who love to learn and love to laugh, you're going to love this one.
For sure.
So, give me the big picture. Like, what's the overall vibe of this Laughimation Studio?
Okay, well, imagine if like a gelatinous blob, like just picture that. A gelatinous blob is your guide to understanding the news.
A blob.
Yeah, his name is Bob the Blob.
Okay, Bob the Blob.
Yeah, it's their flagship character, and it's through him and his adventures and him kind of like stumbling through these different situations that they're able to explain all kinds of things, from news to AI.
So they're using humor to like kind of disarm us and make us more open to learning about these things.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they're saying, hey, it's okay to not know everything. You know, we're all learning together.
So Bob the Blob is like the relatable everyman,
Hmm.
even though he's a blob.
Yeah, pretty much. He's always getting into sticky situations, you know, but it's through those mistakes that he and the audience
I
learns.
got it.
He's just a lovable, clumsy character.
So how does that translate to something like explaining the news? Because news can be kind of serious sometimes.
Right. Well, they have this segment where they take real news stories, but they find the humor in them.
Not like making fun of serious events.
Oh, no, 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 not at all. It's more about finding the humor in like the everyday, you know, this kind of ironic or absurd situations that happen, but they spin it in a way that makes you laugh.
So like instead of just hearing about like, uh, some dry economic report,
Yeah.
they might have Bob the Blob like trying to balance his checkbook or something.
You got it. They had this one where there was this guy in Ohio, Steve, trying to teach his goldfish to fetch. Yeah. And they animated this whole thing with the goldfish just looking completely uninterested in the ball. Like, I'm not doing that.
Oh, that's great.
So it was hilarious.
It makes you want to like keep watching the news to see what they come up with next.
Totally.
But they don't just stop at the news. I mean, we saw that they even tackle tech, right?
Mhm.
Like specifically AI.
AI, yeah.
Yeah.
And they somehow make it fun, which I've got to say is a pretty tough challenge.
I mean, AI can be a bit intimidating.
Definitely. But they've actually rebranded it as absolutely imaginative, which instantly makes it feel less, you know, scary and more, well, imaginative.
That's so clever. It changes the whole perception.
Right. It's like they're saying, hey, this isn't some big scary thing. It's actually full of possibilities.
I love that.
And they don't just rename it, they use humor to actually explain these complex concepts. Like imagine Bob the Blob trying to understand a neural network, you know?
Yeah.
They visualize it as like a giant plate of spaghetti.
Oh, I can see it.
Yeah, so it shows like all the connections, the data, and everything.
So instead of a boring lecture on algorithms, I'm watching Bob get tangled in noodles.
Exactly. And you're laughing, but you're also, without realizing it, absorbing information.
It's genius.
I think so. And it's not just about the entertainment, it's about promoting learning, encouraging curiosity, making people want to learn more about these things.
So it's not just, hey, here's some facts about AI. It's let's explore this together and have some fun along the way.
That's it. They're fostering that sense of wonder, which is so important for learning.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now, it's not just a one-way street, right? They also really encourage a lot of audience interaction, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. They've built this really active online community where they encourage everything from fan art to tech jokes.
They even gave shout-outs to some specific fans.
Yeah, they did in some of the clips we saw.
That's great. So they're really building a community around learning and laughter.
Exactly. They're making their audience feel like they're a part of this whole humor ecosystem they've created.
It's brilliant.
That's pretty cool.
So Laughimation Studio is more than just, creating content. They're building a community.
Yeah, they're bringing people together through this shared love of learning and, well, laughter.
Exactly. They're changing the way we think about learning.
And having a good time while they're doing it.
All right, well, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll dive even deeper into Laughimation Studio and what makes them so special.
Sounds good. I'm ready for more Bob the Blob.
Me too. We'll be right back after this short break. So, it's interesting as we're talking about this whole, fan engagement thing.
Yeah.
It strikes me that, Laughimation Studio is doing something kind of revolutionary, right? It's not just about, creating content. It's like building a community around it.
Yeah, they're really sort of challenging the traditional way we think about learning.
Yeah.
It's not just like passively absorbing information. It's about like actually participating, sharing your ideas, and even like poking fun at the things that you're trying to understand.
It's like they're giving you permission to be playful with knowledge,
Exactly.
which is like we don't often see that, especially with topics like AI or the news. We're always so serious about those.
Yeah, exactly. And by injecting humor into it, they're kind of breaking down those barriers, you know? Because when you're laughing, you're more open to new ideas.
Yeah.
You're more willing to like explore and ask questions.
I'm starting to think there's like a deeper message here beyond just making us laugh.
Yeah.
It's like they're saying, hey, it's okay to not have all the answers. Let's explore this together.
Yeah, and have some fun along the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really fostering that sense of curiosity and wonder, which is so essential for any kind of learning, really.
You know, it's funny. I was actually trying to teach my dog a new trick the other day, and it was a complete disaster.
Oh, no.
Just like Stephen Bubbles with a goldfish.
Oh, that's great.
She's like, why are you not getting this? But then, I just had to laugh at the absurdity of it all.
It's funny how humor can do that, right? Like it helps you connect with even like the most frustrating situations. That's like the beauty of it.
Do you ever think that they're ever concerned that the humor might, like, trivialize the topics they cover?
That's a great question, and I think they're very aware of that potential pitfall, but I think their humor is never at the expense of the subject matter itself.
Okay.
It's more about finding, like, the relatable human element within these topics.
So it's less about mocking and more about finding the funny side of learning.
Exactly. They're not, dumbing things down.
Yeah.
They're making it more approachable and engaging.
And in doing so, they're opening up these topics to a wider audience.
Totally. People who might otherwise feel intimidated or excluded.
Which makes me think about their choice of Bob the Blob as their flagship character.
Right.
He's not your typical hero.
No, he's not, but he's relatable, he makes mistakes.
Right.
And he never takes himself too seriously.
And that relatability is key.
Like, Bob's struggles, whether he's trying to climb a tree or understand an algorithm, those are universal.
Yeah.
He reminds us that it's okay to not be perfect.
Exactly. Stumble a little bit.
Ask for help.
It's all part of the process.
It's like they're using humor to create a sense of empathy, not just for Bob, but for the learning process itself.
Absolutely. They're normalizing the idea that learning can be messy.
Right.
It can be challenging, and it's okay to laugh along the way.
So it's not just about making learning fun, it's making it feel human.
Exactly. They're taking these topics off of their pedestals, making them accessible to everyone, regardless of their background expertise.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. I'm starting to see Laughimation Studio not just as an entertainment company, but like a potential force for change.
I agree, 100%. They've really created this space where entertainment and education blend seamlessly together.
Yeah.
It's amazing, fostering curiosity, community, and even a love of learning. Speaking of community, I was really impressed with their commitment to inclusivity.
Yeah, me too.
Like their characters, their stories, their humor, it seems to resonate with people from all walks of life.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's not just a surface level thing. It's really intentional the way they weave themes of diversity and inclusion into their content.
It's like they're saying, hey, no matter who you are, what your background is, what your interests are, there's a place for you here.
Yeah, exactly. And they're doing it all with a smile and a healthy dose of silliness.
Yeah.
It's a powerful reminder that learning and laughter should be for everyone.
So before we move on, is there anything else that jumps out at you about Laughimation Studio, any detail we haven't touched upon yet?
I think one thing that's really remarkable is their ability to be both informative and entertaining without being preachy or condescending. It's a delicate balance,
Yeah.
But they seem to do it effortlessly.
It's like they're having a conversation with us rather than lecturing at us.
Yeah. Exactly. They're inviting us to join them on this journey, encouraging us to think critically along the way.
They're not afraid to tackle complex or even controversial topics, but they always do it with respect.
Yeah, and sensitivity, never losing sight of those core values of humor, inclusivity, and of course, learning.
This has been so insightful. I'm genuinely inspired by their approach.
Me too.
Excited to see how they continue to evolve.
Yeah, they're a breath of fresh air.
They really are.
In a media landscape that often feels very negative and divided,
Yeah.
they're proving that you can be informative without being boring. That
Very-
you can tackle serious topics without losing your sense of humor,
Yeah.
and that laughter truly is a universal language.
Well said. So are you ready to move on to our final thoughts?
Let's do it.
All right, so we've had a lot of fun exploring the world of Laughimation Studio.
We have.
From their, lovable blob hero
Oh, yeah. Bah.
to their knack for making AI seem, well, fun.
Absolutely.
But, here's the real question. What does it all mean? Like, what does this all mean for our listeners?
Yeah, it's really interesting because I think Laughimation Studio's success tells us a lot about how we learn.
Mm-hmm.
There's clearly this huge appetite for information, but it has to be presented in a way that's engaging and entertaining.
Right, not just like a dry textbook.
Exactly, exactly. It's not about, dumbing things down. It's just about making learning click,
Yeah.
making it enjoyable, not a chore.
We often treat learning and fun as like these separate things,
Yeah, we do.
but they're kind of blurring those lines,
Totally. They're giving us permission to enjoy the process of discovery.
which is so important. And that has implications, I think, way beyond just watching a funny video.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, think about how we approach learning in all aspects of our lives, like in education, at work, even personal interests.
Right.
What if we could apply some of that Laughimation magic?
It's an exciting thought, right?
Yeah.
Like imagine classrooms where kids are like, more, give me more lessons.
Exactly. Or workplaces where people are actually excited about those mandatory training sessions.
Yeah, because they're fun and engaging.
Yeah, it's not as crazy as it sounds because Laughimation Studio is a real-world example of how it can work. And maybe their biggest impact isn't just the content they create, but the inspiration they give us to rethink how we learn.
I love that. It's like a call to action to be more creative and playful in how we approach learning.
Absolutely. And that goes for ourselves and for others.
Speaking of which, I think this is a perfect time for, a final thought-provoking question.
Okay, hit me.
All right, so we've talked about applying this to schools and workplaces, but what about your personal life? Think about something you've always wanted to learn.
Okay, yeah.
So let's say I always wanted to learn how to play the guitar.
Okay, the guitar. Classic. So how
That's-
can you inject a little Laughimation spirit into that?
Right.
Maybe it's, finding a funny podcast on guitar basics, or maybe it's joining a group of learners who don't take themselves too seriously, or even just, allowing yourself to make mistakes and laugh about it.
Yeah, taking the pressure off.
Yeah, exactly. Remembering that learning should be a source of joy, not just a means to an end.
It's about the journey, not just the destination.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe by embracing that playful spirit, you'll not only achieve your learning goals, but you might inspire others to do the same.
That's a beautiful thought.
I think so.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Laughimation Studio, I think it's important to remember their motto, laughter is best when animated.
Yes.
But I think we can add to that, learning is best when it's filled with that same spirit of fun, creativity, and connection.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So keep laughing, keep learning, and keep exploring the world with that Laughimation spark.
And that's a wrap on our deep dives into Laughimation Studio. We'll catch you next time on the deep dive for another fascinating exploration. Until then, keep those brains buzzing and those smiles wide.